Ray J says the Kardashians helped leak the sex tape, Kylie explains her Met Gala look, and Blac Chyna is appealing her lawsuit verdict. Hey guys, and welcome back to another shared news. We are breaking down all of the Kardashian headlines this week. But before we get into it, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any future videos. I'm Alison Van Dam, joined by Blakely McHugh. Blakely, this is our first panel together. I'm so excited. Now, I have to know, are you a Kardashian fan yourself?
Of course I'm a Kardashian fan. I mean, how can you not be? There's always so much going on in the Kardashians family. They're always creating something to talk about. Yes, I love them.
Amazing. So let's jump into our first headline. Ray J says the Kardashians were involved with leaking the sex tape. So Ray J was interviewed by Daily Mail, where he claims that Kim and her mother Kris worked with him to release the 2007 tape. He said, quote, "I've never leaked anything. I have never leaked a sex tape in my life. It's always been a deal and a partnership between Kris Jenner and Kim and me, and we've always been partners since the beginning of this thing." He goes on to saying that he encouraged Kim to leak the sex tape after seeing how Paris Hilton's career skyrocketed after her own sex tape was leaked. He also said that Kim signed a contract for 3 tapes, but only one was released. Now, Blakely, what do you think about all of this? We know that Kim worked for Paris Hilton back in the day. So do you think she wanted to copy her recipe for success? Or is Ray J just trying to put all of the blame back on the Kardashian family?
I'm so confused. Honestly, like how, if Ray J is not telling the truth, how would he concoct, this whole idea? But at the same time, I feel like, we've watched Kim for so long. I'm pretty sure, didn't we see her cry about the Playboy shoot when she thought she was going to have to be naked? So, how does that, those actions don't line up with then wanting to release a sex tape? Like it'd be one thing if we saw her totally fine at that Playboy shoot, then I'd be like, okay, maybe. But all of her actions about her having to be nude and that be publicized have all been negative for her. So it makes no sense to me that she would then be a part of releasing her own sex tape. And this has caused so much turmoil for her, for so many years. Honestly, I'm at the point like this was 15 years ago. Let's just move on from the sex tape. Why do we care?
Exactly. And it's so true. It's like this started out season 1, episode 1 was, you're going to go on the Tyra Banks show, but Tyra wants to talk about the tape. Kim didn't want to talk about the tape. You're right. She then went and did a Playboy shoot and she said that everything would be covered. I think she even had an additional shoot maybe when she was in New York that things were supposed to be covered and there was going to be artwork and
Mhm.
it was going to be great. Then suddenly it was completely nude. She freaked out then too. But all of this is being brought back to the light on their new Kardashian show. We
Yeah.
saw, Kim's son playing Roblox. It got brought up that there was additional footage. We saw her again crying to her team then, calling Kanye, trying to figure it out. And even she said, she's like, this is, 20 years ago and it's being brought back up, but now it's back in the spotlight. And we saw Kanye, in this last episode of The Kardashians, fly from New York to LA, then back to New York and present this what seemed like a very sentimental, moving gift to Kim of
Yeah.
this laptop and this hard drive with all of the potential footage that there ever could have been. So it was like,
Mhm.
great, we'll seal this up with a nice bow. We're in possession of it. Everything's great. And now Ray J's telling his side of the story. And he continued in his interview by saying that he gladly handed over the devices free of charge, which Kanye said. He said, "We're not going to be exploited. I wasn't going to pay for it." He handed them over free of charge to Kanye after a 4-hour meeting at LAX. So Kanye didn't even leave the airport. He was ready to head back to New York. And then Ray J also said, quote, "I never had a single tape at my house. She," referring to Kim, "had them at her house. She's always had all the tapes in a Nike shoebox under her bed." So, Blakely, you said you're confused. I'm confused. If Kim had the tapes, why would Kanye have had to do this grand gesture of flying across the country? Why would Kim have gotten so upset if she had the tapes and she knew exactly what was out there and what had been captured? So, what are you believing? And do you think the Kardashians are going to, issue a rebuttal statement after this Ray J interview, or are they just going to kind of leave it in the past and hope that people forget about it?
We need that TikTok trending sound of Angus behind us. You're confused. I'm confused because I don't even know what to make of it. Honestly, you know, can't believe that Kim has had the videos this whole time. I just can't, because it's been made to be such, a big issue for her, and, such a point of contention, and it hurt her, and it hurt her, I mean, well, it helped her livelihood, let's be honest, but she was so afraid with her kids. And so, but then the description of the Nike box, it's like, how do you choose, who to believe? But I do want to say, I never thought that Ray J was the one who leaked the video. I don't know if that's what people thought, but I never thought that he was the one who leaked it. There's hackers all the time that are getting into celebrities' computers or their phones or their iClouds, or I don't know if all of that, the iCloud was a thing back yonder. But like, so my thought process was that it got hacked and that's how this video got out. I never once thought it was like Ray J's the one who's leaking it. But so now he's taking like this defensive position, saying that it's them. I don't know what to make of it, but I really can't believe that Kim, has had this as a possession her whole time, but then made it a storyline. It's so, I think that they will issue a response. I feel like at least when it comes to the sex tape, the Kardashians never not issue a response unless they're just going to be like, let's put this to bed. It no longer matters.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it is so confusing because, like we've been talking about, it's been this through line throughout not only
Mhm.
Kim's career, but the show. So, if they had something to do with it, do we suddenly, lose all faith and trust in Kim, in Kris? I've seen, different perspectives on this. I've done, a lot of research on the Kardashians back in my day when I was in college and wrote a paper about all of this. But there were other books and deep dives that did say, Kris Jenner was involved. She's a businesswoman.
Mm,
I don't know if Kim was involved, but I've definitely heard things saying Kris was. So I wish
interesting.
we just had an honest and open and transparent conversation about it. I don't know if we're going to get that, but I guess we'll just keep our eyes peeled on if they issue a statement, what
Yeah.
truth comes to light about this whole thing, because it's back in the spotlight, even if they don't want it to be. It's back there
Yeah.
and making headlines. So, moving on to our next headline of the week, Kylie's Met Gala dress. Now, on my perspective, I think this is probably one of the most talked about dresses and ensembles of the Met Gala, one of the most controversial. People are debating it. Do you agree, or do you think anyone else is making this big of a splash?
No, I 100% agree, because I think that people are either on one side of the spectrum or the other, and that's what's causing so much discussion.
Totally. So, Kylie herself has decided to provide some context surrounding the
Yes.
wedding dress look, saying that it was a tribute to the brand's founder, Virgil Abloh, who died in November of 2021. She wrote in her Instagram caption saying, quote, Virgil and I were supposed to go to the Met together before it got postponed in 2020. To celebrate V tonight and his incredible legacy truly means the world to me. I'm humbled to wear this dress and honor my talented, beautiful friend. So, this dress is actually similar to the look that closed the label's fall 2022 show, which was Virgil's final collection. So, it was the final dress of his final collection, which makes sense. And I myself love a sentimental gesture and I love the idea of, honoring someone who's passed away. But this dress was still one of my least favorite looks of the night, in my opinion, and we've talked about this, and she's posted a TikTok of her getting ready. The dress itself is so stunning. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
why we added the t-shirt. I'm not sure why we added the baseball hat. I would have loved just the dress itself, maybe some gloves, maybe a crown to make it seem more Gilded Age. So what
Mhm.
did you think? And who is your best dress and worst
Okay.
dressed of the Met Gala?
So I agree with everything that you said. I'm 100% like, the dress by itself without the added short sleeve and the cap and everything else was gorgeous. I think what makes it like why this is causing such a topic of conversation is because it was in honor of Virgil. So it's like, how do you talk badly about, an outfit when the person who designed it is no longer here? But that being said, not every designer hits. Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Oscar de la Renta, they have not always knocked the outfits out of the ballpark. So we let's look at it for what it is. It looked confusing. That needs to be like the title of this discussion. We're confused because
I'm so confused.
we had this beautiful gown, but then it felt like we had two, contrasting looks because then you have a t-shirt and a ball cap. So it didn't flow to me. Although I have been seeing that some people have been saying that the ball cap, and Nicki Minaj also wore one, so this might be correct, was started to be introduced in that gilded glamour age. Like the snapback started to become a thing. So it may be a little bit more on point to the theme than we think, although it fell flat for me. I honestly think that her after party look should have been her red carpet look because that
Mhm.
was like I was speechless from that one.
Yeah, I
So,
absolutely loved it. Yeah.
yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. And there was nothing wrong with it. So Virgil hit that one on the head, right? In terms of best and worst, I have got to give it to my girl Blake Lively. I mean, was there even any comparison?
No, and the thing is there wouldn't have been any comparison if she had just worn the first look. But anytime you involve like a red carpet transformation,
Mhm.
I mean, I grew up in theater. I love a good quick change. Like, and then you read about the symbolism of, Statue of Liberty and how that's,
Yes,
changed color over time. The whole thing was beautiful. 10 out of 10, Queen of the Met. I'm with you.
queen. Yeah, she kills it every year, and she killed it again this year, and like all hail Queen Blake, right? In terms
Mhm.
of worst dress though, Kourtney Kardashian, other than there's some wild, like very chaotic outfits there, but so I'm gonna put those to a side because I just don't even feel like they fit in the category, like Sarah Jessica Parker's plaid thing with the topsy Alice in Wonderland type hat on her head. I don't know, but so I'm putting them in their own category. Kourtney Kardashian, I think, was worst dressed for me. I hate a destructed suit into a dress look. It wasn't working for me. I'm not entirely sure what the, portion around like half of that skirt was. As we were saying earlier, it looked like, bandages that you wrap around yourself. And then in an interview, somebody had asked her, how were you interpreting the theme into your outfit? I don't think any shade was in the question. I think that they're like genuinely trying to figure it out. And she was like, I really didn't think about it. And I thought, you can tell.
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm with you 100%. And it's the Met. That's the whole point. It's an extravagant, elegant costume party. You dress
Yes.
to theme. You know what I mean? That's the one you had one job. We just keep referencing TikTok sounds, but I'm
Yeah.
completely with you with the best and the worst. So I'm glad we're on the
Mhm.
same page.
Me
And to
too.
wrap up our Kardashian headlines, the final headline of the week is that Blac Chyna's lawyer said she will be appealing the defamation lawsuit verdict. So this ties into the Met because someone asked Kris Jenner at the
Mhm.
Met how she felt, now that the case was closed. She said she's glad that it's wrapped up and in the past, but it's maybe not in the past. So to bring everyone up to speed, Blac Chyna was trying to prove that the Kardashian Jenner family had purposefully interfered to cause the cancellation of her e-show Rob and China. So she had posted on Twitter, quote, when they got my number one hit show killed back in January 2017, that not only hurt me financially and emotionally, but that hurt my beautiful kids. So on Monday, the Kardashian family members were cleared of all key questions in the court, and no monetary damages were awarded to China. However, China's attorney said that the jury found all four defendants had intentionally interfered with her contract with the E network. So those four key defendants that she's referring to are Kris, Kim, Khloe, and Kylie. So because of this proved interference, she said she and China will appeal on the remaining questions. So Blakely, have you been following this case? Whose side are you on? And do you think China will be successful in appealing the verdict?
I mean, my one question is who's hurting your kids, Black China? I mean, literally, you allegedly wrapped a cord around Rob's neck, and you put a gun to your child's father's head saying it was a joke. I don't think that the Jenners are hurting your family by getting this show canceled. I think you're hurting your own family by putting your family in that position. Like if she hadn't done these outlandish behaviors, and I'm not saying Rob is a saint either, but it's not the Kardashian and the Jenners who got your show canceled that are hurting your family. It's you. That's just my 2 cents there. 100% I am on the Kardashian and the Jenner side. If roles were reversed, heck yeah, I'd be trying to get my family member's show canceled if he's in a relationship having a gun to his head? I mean, right? Like, I think that everybody knows that they tried to get their show canceled, but it wasn't whatever Blac Chyna is trying to argue does not make any sense to me. There was reasoning behind why they wanted it canceled.
Totally. And, you know, as someone who has watched the Kardashians for a really long time, watched many spin-offs of the show, there are good ones and there are bad ones. You know what I mean? We talk about Courtney and Chloe take Miami, Kim and Courtney take New York. Loved those. Chloe and Lamar wasn't great. Rob and China, it to me, I just remember being like, every episode is the same and it's them getting into argument after argument. So take away all of this, you know, backstory going on behind the
Mhm.
scenes and maybe them wanting to protect Rob or get them out of the spotlight. I didn't think it was that good of a show to begin with. So I'm like, again, China, if your show got canceled, it was probably for a reason. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure why we're taking it to court. You could have gone out and tried to make your own show because let's be honest, the only reason she had one to begin with was because of the Kardashian Jenner family. So it's kind of up to them of which parts of their franchise they're going to cut and which parts they're going to keep.
And also, it just doesn't make any sense to me when she's saying, like, you are taking away things from my kids, the money that she could have made, et cetera, and how it impacts her children. Well, don't you think that if your child, Dream, watches back your show with her dad, that that's going to negatively impact her? Don't you think if you had another season where you guys are fighting the entire time and maybe it's even worse than what the first season was, that that's going to negatively impact her? So it just her argument does not add up. It's crazy to me that she thinks that she can retry this trial. And then her attorney also told the Associated Press, they said the jury found that China had not physically abused Rob. The jury found that all four defendants had intentionally interfered with her contract with the E network. And they'll appeal, like you said, the remaining questions. But I think like all of that is clear. They did interfere, but for good reason. So how does I just this case is confusing how there's even a case for it. But I
Totally. And
suppose
again,
it's a defamation, but
it's there's a network involved. You know, Kris Jenner has always
yeah.
been an executive producer on all of these shows. There are people who are in charge of whether shows are renewed. And I remember the family even having conversations about it. I think it was on the Kardashian show on
Mhm.
E and talking about, you know, this is really being detrimental to their relationship. But also, you know, Rob was going through depressive times and it was getting him
Yep.
up out of bed for filming. They didn't make this decision lightly. They were weighing options. I remember them going back and forth of should we continue having Rob put his life on TV? Because in a way, it is a job and it's making him get out of bed, but it's creating chaos and a lot of negativity for not only them, but their daughter. So, yeah, again, I'm with you. This whole episode should just be entitled Confused at the Kardashian Headlines because it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
Well, that is everything we have for you guys for now. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Are you just as confused as we are about Ray J, Kylie's look, Blac Chyna's appeal? And before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any Kardashian updates. I'm Alison Van Dam, joined by Blakely McHugh. Our social handles are on the screen right now. If you want to come give us a follow, come say hello, give us your biggest questions, and we'll try and answer
Mhm.
them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.